Hello and welcome to Meet the Women of Fearless Minneapolis. My name is Jenn Espinosa-Goswami. I am the host with the most, hopefully, for Minneapolis. This is our premiere time debuting this event here in Minnesota, and I couldn't be more excited to bring to you one of our fearless speakers, Nancy Zugschwert. Correct?
Yes, Zugschwert is how we say it.
Zugschwert. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's so great to meet you, Nancy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I said you said it closer to the proper German pronunciation, but we've kind of Americanized it. So,
that's interesting because I'm a German major and I lived in Germany for a while. So I would have said Zugschwert. Yeah, Zugschwert is how I would have said it if I was using my German background. But yeah, it's interesting because you didn't know that about me, probably.
I did not.
Yeah. Okay. So Nancy Z, or we'll just go by Nancy. Tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and if you'd like, a little preview of your talk.
You bet. Well, thanks for that invitation. I am a purpose-driven, purpose-centered coach and speaker. My specialty areas are purpose and communications, as well as relationships, especially marriage. I have been in this sphere for about 4 years after a long career in communications and higher education. And I am so excited to be part of the Fearless Summit. Well, I will be doing a talk on purpose. Surprise, surprise. And it's called You're Supposed to Be Here. I have a core belief that everyone on this planet is here on purpose and for a purpose. And once we know that in our lives, the whole realm of what we do in our lives on the day-to-day becomes more joyful, more fulfilled, and more powerful.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think you win for elevator pitch. If we had a winning competition for elevator pitch, we've had a lot of people, a lot of speakers sharing more about what they do. And I think you say what you do so succinctly that I didn't have any questions from what you shared with us. So, but I do have a follow-up question to that, because just coming from my own background, whenever somebody asks me, what's your purpose in life, I feel very overwhelmed and I feel a little bit pressured because I don't necessarily identify that I have a purpose. There are things that I do. There are things that I like to do. There are things that I cannot stop doing. But purpose is a very heavy word for me. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean when you say help people find their purpose?
Absolutely. Oh, you couldn't have asked me a more exciting question. Thank you. Thank you. And I did not set you up for that. So well done following your intuition. So I am what's called a licensed purpose factor facilitator. So my background in purpose goes farther back than the last 6 months. But my journey right now as a facilitator has been about the last 6 months. I have had the opportunity to work with a company called The Purpose Company, and they created this fabulous tool. So it's called the Purpose Factor. And the core thing to remember, and what is it? It's a test. You can literally take a 20-minute assessment to help you understand that elusive question that you were just talking about. The thing I love the most about having connected with this tool and the people who run this company is the simplicity of the definition of what purpose is. It's so simple, you can memorize it. Your purpose is the best of what you have to help others. It's that simple. And the best part of the equation is that when we live our lives in alignment with our purpose, knowing what that best of what we have is, using it to help other people, we actually receive our fulfillment from that. And so by knowing your purpose and having a tool to help you really identify it, not just identify it, but articulate it, it opens a whole new world for you to basically create fulfillment on demand, as well as stop looking in the wrong places for your purpose. A purpose isn't a job. It's not a role. It's not a relationship. It is truly something that's been in you since birth, and it's worn a lot of skin over time. And chances are, I think somebody like you, Jen, the reason that you haven't been necessarily sure about it is probably because you're just doing it. Most people have that quest for it on a deeper level when they're not getting fulfilled, when they're not being aligned with their purpose. And I find that a lot of people who, whether they can articulate it or not, they actually are living purpose aligned. They just didn't have the words for it. So that's what I say when what purpose is, what it isn't. And I love that we can actually determine it in such a simple way, with or without the tool. Knowing the definition, you can still look at yourself, even if you don't take the test that I use, and be able to get probably more in the zone of understanding your purpose.
Interesting. It kind of reminds me, you mentioned that one of the reasons I might be struggling with the purpose idea, and it feels like a heavy word. It reminds me of that quote from Forrest Gump where Lieutenant Dan was asking Forrest Gump, he says, "Have you found Jesus?" And Forrest responded, "I didn't know I was supposed to be looking for him." So, I see purpose as that, right? Like you may be living your purpose without recognizing that that's what you're doing. It's just what you're doing. So I love that you mentioned that it is something that we can identify using this tool in this certification process that you have in this assessment. I had no idea. I mean, I've taken a lot of quizzes and assessments. I have yet to take one that helps me identify purpose. So I'd be curious to dive into that and learn more about that. Well, another thing that came forward for me, Nancy, is you've spoken on lots of other stages before. You and I have spoken in other groups, done other opportunities together. What made you say yes to Fearless Minneapolis in particular?
Well, I'm a big sucker for an out of the blue invitation from someone who says, "Hey, I saw you and I noticed you and I think you might be good at this." So, words of affirmation or whatever it is. So your invitation was very inviting, not to be redundant. I think once I saw the organization, I met Charla, the founder of One Woman. I loved her story. And honestly, a huge attraction was speaking live. Being in so many Zoom rooms since 2020, getting really used to this. I had gotten away a little bit from that, joy that I find from being on stage. I'm one of those strange people who loves public speaking, and I haven't had to overcome tremendous fears. My story about public speaking is when I was in 7th grade, my oldest sister graduated from high school. And it was a large high school. There were about, 3,000 to 4,000 people at the graduation, 600 kids in the class. And I saw that she had peers speaking on stage. And as a 7th grader sitting there, I went, "Oh, I want to speak at my high school graduation someday." And that was a dream of mine for 5 years. And I fulfilled it, So other people would have been quaking in their boots, doing anything in the world but speaking on stage. But I love getting into a room. And let me tie it back to purpose. So when you take this assessment, when I took this assessment, one of the things that attracted it to me, and maybe me to it, was that I felt very seen and heard by the results. It just seemed very accurate. And so I got a statement that's called my purpose factor. And my purpose factor, my purpose is to inspire excitement around a cause and create shared experiences. And I find getting into a room like what you're creating at the Fearless Women Summit is exactly that. It's very purpose aligned for me to stand in front of people, to get people inspired about the excitement and the idea of knowing their purpose, and to bring us together around a shared cause of elevating each other as women, elevating each other to live our highest and best lives.
That is kind of kismet, right? That was meant to be. I think the fact that your purpose has to do with being in a room, inspiring women around a cause. And now I'm curious what my result might be on that quiz, because I'm a quiz nerd. Like I geek out on all these things. I've done StrengthsFinder, I've done human design, I'm a big astrology nerd. So I've dove into so many different assessments, and honestly, I feel like some of them are missing that it factor, that je ne sais quoi, they just don't have it.
Yes, you take it like, oh, great. Now what do I do with this information? And what I love to do is actually help people unpack their assessment. So we walk through it and we start to talk about how this can become, I always hold my hand up to a light. It's like a lens, a new lens you can look at life and decisions. So you're making a decision about a job change, and you're making a decision about a volunteer organization or serving on a board, and you have new data that you can use to know whether that's going to be a purpose aligned decision or not. So this report, for example, has 4 different elements that make up your purpose. I won't get all into the weeds here, but in each of those sections, you have a list of things that fulfill you and a list of things that frustrate you. And I actually had an experience recently where I was responding to a situation very much what seemed out of proportion to the importance of it, in terms of it was a communication breakdown situation. And I said to my husband, why is this driving me so crazy? Why am I responding like this? And I had the wherewithal to pull out my purpose factor. And I looked and I realized that in one of the elements, this particular breakdown hit 5 out of 7 bullet points on my frustration list.
Oh my gosh.
I realized it became a clue for me about my behavior to go, oh, wait a minute. I'm responding extra in this because this is fighting my very purpose. This is stealing fulfillment from me because we haven't figured out how to make this situation work. And so then it gave me renewed insight about what I might need to do to either reframe the situation and accept it, or to try to fix it. And so it is a powerful tool. And I even have a tool where it kind of overlays with other things, complements some of those other assessments you talked about. So I can talk about how knowing your purpose and knowing your strengths finder makes you just like this powerhouse of self-awareness that's going to be a great contribution to your teams, to your clients, and things like that. And in terms of you like wanting to take it, we may or may not have a special that we're offering for people at the summit as an opportunity to take it. So stay tuned.
Oh my gosh. If we needed another reason to be in the room, if you've been curious about what Nancy's sharing about the purpose factor, you need to be in the room. So August 9th, if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, I want to meet you in person. Ladies of the Twin Cities, we want to meet you in person. We want to link arms. We want to lift and encourage you and support you in whatever area of life that looks like. Maybe it's purpose. Maybe it's life balance, which Erin talks about. Maybe it's about just diving into how to be a better ally or how to find better allies as a woman. We have so many speakers offering great things. And if you buy your ticket before July 31st, even those of you watching the replay, you still have time to get your ticket. Buy it before July 31st and bring a friend for free. This offer expires on July 31st, so definitely get your ticket. We would love to see you there. Now, Nancy, right away, I mean, I saw all of the speaker announcements coming out, the titles of what they chose to offer as their main talks, and yours was very simple but very powerful. You're supposed to be here. Now, as a woman who has probably never heard that ever in my life, it hit me a certain way. So tell us a little bit, without sharing all of your talk, because we'll get that on the day, but tell us a little bit about either a story from that or what inspired you to choose that as your title.
A lot of it is the work that I've been doing with purpose, and really coming to the conclusion that once you know not only that you have a purpose, but what your purpose is, it really starts to lead you almost, backwards in life to think through that really big question of life. Why am I here? And I've had some experiences in my life where I think that has really shaken to the core to literally question, am I supposed to be here? I know people who've had near-death experiences or had overcome incredible obstacles, and they're like, why am I still here? And those questions are really, really big. And I realized that with this tool and with some of my own personal experiences, I have an opportunity to help other women not only ask, but answer that question with, I think, the best possible outcome. And the fact that it's a resounding yes when we answer it. And when you come on the 9th, you'll hear about maybe some of the reasons we ask it in the first place. But I'm very excited to take people on a journey to at least start to answer that question for themselves.
I just got chills. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about what we're going to discover in this room here because, just from what you're sharing here, I'm like, uh-oh, I'm going to grow. And that's another thing about why I'm hosting the Fearless Women Summit here. I am a speaker. I usually show up and speak on other people's stages. I'm happy to do so. I will deliver all day, every day, but I don't like event logistics. So the reason I decided to offer this event for the first time, and the biggest event I've hosted to date, I do a lot of virtual events on Eventbrite, but this is my first major in-person event where I have to think of catering and decorations and all these other logistics that I usually don't have to worry about, is because I wanted to offer women of the Twin Cities something they haven't had yet. And in some ways, it's a stretch for me in the sense of I'm afraid because I've never done this. I don't know what I'm capable of. I don't know what the people in the room are capable of. So for some of us, this is the first time we met, and that's great. But it's different than your traditional networking. We will have networking. We will have people in the room who will share these inspirational stories, but we'll also have great conversations in the hallway. We'll have lunch together. We'll be able to meet people that we may not have met otherwise. So that's one of the reasons why I'm hosting this event. Like you, Nancy, I'm craving that in-person interaction. I'm zoomed out. I do 60% of my talks as Zoom or MS Teams talks, and that's fine. That's a great way to deliver in a convenient way. But again, I need that live room here. But one of the reasons that I wanted to bring women together as well is to give kind of an idea of what Fearless could look like, given through these different examples and these different stories. So Nancy, it's your turn to answer that question that I've been asking everyone, all of the speakers so far. What does it mean to you to be fearless?
What it means to be fearless to me is as simple as being willing to take the next best step. I think we make it awfully big, and thinking too big about what fearless is actually keeps us in fear. But when we realize that every day it's just one day more, I always say on my birthday, I wake up, I'm only one day older than I was the day before. Everything we need to do involves the next best step. And being fearless means corralling all the available resources. For me personally, that's my faith. That's the people in my life. That's my own wisdom and what I'm empowered by my creator to be able to have and do. And then garnering and gathering that all together to take the next best step. So fearless is the willingness to take the next best step, even if it's hard, even if it's scary, and realizing you really never have to take it alone.
Well, you know what, you just reminded me of what the next best step, and you're echoing some of what the other speakers have shared in these interviews thus far. So if you haven't caught the other interviews, look below this video here and I'll share the replays on my YouTube channel. Feel free to watch the interviews, get to know the women of Fearless Minneapolis, because each woman is adding so much value to this event. But what you said about taking the next best step, what came to my mind was that scene from Frozen 2 where Anna is stuck in the cave. She's trapped in the cave and she wants to give up. And she realized her sister is in big trouble and needs her help. And she's like, I don't want to do anything. I'm scared. I'm alone. Only Olaf was there with her, the snowman. And she said, and she sang a whole song on the next best step. So, and it always makes me cry. It's such an emotional moment in the movie, but sometimes that's all we have, right, Nancy? We just have what's right in front of us. And that can be a strength as well, when you have this ability to focus on just the one thing. And that's how businesses are built. That's how women grow. That's how women conquer their fears and step into that next level of themselves, whatever that looks like. So thank you for sharing what your definition of fearless looks like. Now, Nancy, I know you've got some cool things going on out there. Are there any projects or things that are coming up that you're really excited about sharing with folks?
Actually, yes. And this really wouldn't have come up in this conversation yet. However, it's very, again, purpose connected. My husband and I are launching a program for married couples. We're working a lot with married entrepreneurs where we're celebrating 40 years of marriage in December of this year. And it's almost a way that we're choosing to celebrate and be in gratitude for those 40 years, because we are actually having more fun in our lives than we've ever had. We've really worked hard to grow and strengthen our marriage. And we see all around us that people struggle with that. So we're actually taking the information with purpose, and we're going to be helping couples. A piece of the program we're creating is to actually use the purpose factor, where the couples, when they know their purpose, individually they're stronger, and then they get to look together at what their purpose is. And one of the reasons it's so powerful, if you'll go harken back to that piece on fulfillment that I mentioned, is that when we don't know our purpose, we look for it in the wrong places, and we can look for it in people. And so if you're looking for your spouse to fulfill you and feeling unfulfilled, it's not their fault. It's not their job. And so here we're going to be packing powerful, purpose-driven marriage concepts into this. We're 2 levels and 2 tiers of the programs that we're doing. We're just super excited about it. I won't go into too much more detail, but we are running some master classes, and our next one's coming up August 12th. It's a free mini preview of some of the things that we're teaching. And so we're very, very excited to bring to life marriage and purpose in a perfect marriage. We're marrying purpose and marriage, if that doesn't sound weird. I don't know.
No, I like that. You're marrying purpose. Yeah, that sounds perfect to me. I love that sound bite right there. And congratulations, 40 years of marriage. My husband and I barely got through 20. I think we're at 22 right now. You lose track of time eventually, but that's a huge celebration, especially in a world where 50% of marriages end in divorce. So, and I've met Jim at National Speakers Association. He's a great guy. He's super charming. You two obviously have great purpose together. Yep. and have are able to partner in a way that I think a lot of couples maybe would like to. I don't know. It certainly was inspirational to me to see you two together, and I'm happy you're bringing this work forward in the world. So how can we connect with you, Nancy, for those who are watching or those who want to learn more about all the cool things you were talking about today?
Yeah, I'm on the socials. I'm here. I'm on LinkedIn as Nancy Z Unlimited is my business. I'm the kind of person I don't like to be too hemmed in. So I decided to just put unlimited in my business name so I could do whatever I wanted. And so Nancy Z Unlimited on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. That's where I kind of keep current with what's happening. My website, nancyz.com, is available as well. And I would love to have anybody reach out, say you heard me here. Please come to the summit so we can meet in person. I think that would be the best way to connect with me in the near future. And if you're curious about the marriage program, you can check that out at marriageabc.com.
Wow. So many amazing things that you're offering to folks here, Nancy, and Nancy Z Unlimited. I love it. No limits on Nancy here, folks. She is totally unlimited. And please make sure you get a ticket to Fearless Women Minneapolis. Connect with Nancy in the meanwhile. Check out what she's doing. Maybe sign up for her master class on the ABCs of marriage. For sure, she will enrich your life in a way that maybe you didn't know you needed. So I can't wait to see you at the Fearless Women Summit. Again, this is an all-day event. It starts at 9 a.m. Doors open at 8 if you want to kind of meet the speakers, meet the vendors. We go all the way until 4:30. We're in the Embassy Suites Hotel in Brooklyn Center. So if you're in the area, shout out to Brooklyn Center and everyone up in that side of the Twin Cities. But it will be an amazing event, and we want to see you there. Now, Nancy, before we conclude today's interview, is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
I would just like to leave you with the important message that you'll hear most times that I speak, is that you are here on purpose. You're here for a purpose. And one of the best things you can do in your life is to check in with your creator and ask him to help you know what that is.
Well stated, Nancy. And thank you so much for sharing more about your inner world and about what you're bringing here in terms of helping us get to that next level and discover our purpose or rediscover it. This has been an amazing time, and I look forward to seeing you on August 9th.
I can't wait. I'm really so grateful for all you are doing, Jenn, to put this amazing event together for the women of the Twin Cities and beyond.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm so glad I invited you. I need to send more personal invitations, I think.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll see you later.